Hi guys. Nice to see you guys again. Uh, so what have I been doing lately? I'm going to be going home and seeing my dad because it's like anniversary of his passing. So in this, Halloween period, he passed away. And also I got the final notice of my divorce. So also I'm coming off medication, so everything seems to be going a bit down. I don't know, inside my brain, the theme is things coming to an end. My dad's life came to an end in this period a few years ago. So I've been thinking about him. When this time comes around, I tend to think about my dad. So I have a kind of final closure on my wedding. Sorry, my marriage. So I have the final notice, which means you are officially divorced. So that's come to an end. And also, the good thing is my medication is going to come to an end. So I've been tapering off my medication. I've done my first taper. I'm going to start my second taper soon, which is another reduction. I've gone down from 5 to 4 milligrams. After about 6 days, it was really difficult. And then after brain chemistry shifted and stabilized, now I'm going to go down the second shift, the second gear, down to 3 milligrams. And I think my brain won't like the 2 milligram drop. So see what happens. Yeah, so I saw the news of in Ireland this young girl. I think she was a 10-year-old that was assaulted by a migrant or graped. Those fruits on the tree, grapes. She was graped by an African migrant. I think he was either 26. The first reports he was 30, then 26 years of age, and they needed an interpreter. He couldn't even speak English. He had to speak Arabic. So there's another incident in Ireland. I don't know what's happening in Ireland. You thought like those Irish people are really tough people. They don't take any shit from, definitely not from the English, but they're definitely taking a lot of stuff from these migrants. Migrants is a nice word, isn't it? Even in the UK, like even in England, we call them migrants. But some of these guys are illegal. Why can't we just call them criminals? That's what they are. They're criminals that come into a country. Like any criminal, any person, any boat person that goes into China or Russia or Italy, or why is it? I think it's because we have so much guilt, that we can't even say no to people like breaking into our countries, because you can be guaranteed that if this happened in China, people coming into the country illegally, and the Chinese saying, look, go back to your country, nobody would say anything. Crickets. That's all you would hear. But it's as if the Anglosphere, because of white guilt, let's just, that's what it is, has to accept it, has to take it up the exhaust, has to take all these people in, because there's a massive, how do you call it, guilt complex. Like, well, you started these wars, so these people, these refugees, have to come in. You don't even know that they're refugees from these countries. They turn up, they throw away their passports. You know, most of them are economic migrants. They come to make money. That's if they work. Then they find out, oh shit, we don't have to actually work. The government puts us in nice hotels, in nice places. We can walk around, nice mobile. You can even get like driving lessons, massage, or whatever. They live better than us. You know, if I wanted a driving license, if I wanted a massage or whatever it is, a gym membership, I'd have to pay for it. I can't afford it. I'm doing these stupid YouTube videos to try and make some money because this is all I can do. You know, some people complain about me. Like, I think there was one guy or lady, I don't know, said something like, well, you do nothing all day. It's nice for some, or it must be a nice life, or something like that. I do nothing all day. Yeah, I have a channel, a shredding channel, shredding things for children. I've got about 500 videos on that channel. I've got about 500 on this channel, no, 300 on this channel. I had about 300 or 400 on a previous channel that YouTube botched up. They made a mistake and I got kicked out. You know, I couldn't get into my own account and I had to start all over again. I'm making that hypnotherapy channel, the one on the immortality, you know, and anti-aging. So, like, every time you make a video and upload, there's a certain process, there's certain tasks you have to do. You have to think about it, you have to produce the video, you have to put the description, tags, a title. You have to think about all this stuff. And then, you know, like, I've failed in most of my videos, you know, haven't made a lot of money, if any. And so, like, I would like to see that guy, whoever you are, to create, 300, 500, so 1,000, let's say over 1,200 videos, and most of them flopping, and you still continuing to try and make money this way. You know, I do nothing all day. According to this guy, I do nothing all day. I would love to see this guy make 1,200 videos over the course of 6 or 7 years, and then someone turn up and say, well, you do fuck all day, you know, you've got the time to make videos. When I make videos, I haven't got time to do anything else to live my life. Like, whilst somebody else has finished work, has gotten home, and is chilling out with his girlfriend or wife, children, you know, I'm there still in the evening trying to work out ideas, trying to edit. I never stop. And that's really bad. It's been really bad for me, my health, my eyes, anxiety, you know, my heart and stuff, blood pressure. It's been really bad for my family life because I haven't spent time with my son or my daughters or my wife. You know, all with the hope of making some money. And I failed. I didn't make any money. On this channel, I made about £50 last month. That was huge. But this month it's gone down to about 34, 37. If I upload every day, then I might be able to get to 37 or 50. And yeah, so I do nothing all day. I wish I did nothing all. No, I don't wish I did nothing all day. That would be boring. You know, I've got the dogs to look after. I have to feed them. I have to clean their poo. I have to. I'm trying to sort out a place to live so then I can train them properly. So I think what I'll do with this channel, I don't just get grief. I mean, some people say nice things about me, so, and encourage me. So I thank you very much. But unfortunately, in this life, you need this. Because now it's coming to winter. I can't pay for the fuel. my fuel bills, to heat up the house. The insurance on the house is huge. So I'm going to have to find a way to... It's going to take like a good few years to pay for the insurance on 50 quid a month. Yeah, so at the moment, because I haven't sold the house, hasn't freed up any funds, so I'm in trouble. I'm not getting any benefit because of the ADHD and social anxiety. I told them I can't go to the appointment because I've got social anxiety. They said, come to the appointment on Monday. I didn't turn up, and they stopped. I went to my doctor and I said, look, I've got a problem with ADHD. How do I can I continue my benefit? And they got me in touch with someone, a partner or somebody who works there, and they contacted the office for me, and they said, oh, it's okay, just make another appointment and come in. I thought, what's the point in me explaining to this guy? If I could have made an appointment, I would have. So I'm just going around in circles. These people are supposed to help you, they don't help you. When I had the ADHD appointment, the assessment, and I fortunately or unfortunately I passed, so I do have ADHD. So that's going to be sent to my doctor, and I don't know, the doctor's going to just put it down in his note to say, oh, okay, he or she, I don't even know who my doctor is. They keep changing. And yeah, I think the only thing helpful for that is like if I wanted to take some drugs for it, but I don't want to take any drugs. So at least I know I've got ADHD, so I can do some research and work around it and try and now realize that I've got this kind of brain. I've always realized it's weird, but now I've got a name to the weirdness. I can put a name to it, ADHD. I'm not going to check if I've got autism or, was it highly intelligent being? No, hang on. Highly sensitive person. Yeah, I ticked all the boxes for that as well. Oh my goodness. So, what was I going to say? So, I think when it comes to money, I think I'm going to have to reduce my workload on these videos, and so just make one of these videos a week just to keep people happy. That I was going to stop and just leave my videos on so that people can listen to my voice if it's soothing for some people, and they can listen to it before they go to sleep, help you to sleep. If you're bored out of your brain, and you just watch it and just listen to whatever I have to say, whatever I'm rambling on about in that particular video. Or maybe I could just leave it open and then charge membership. And if people want to see new videos, then they can become a member. I don't know, it's probably going to be something like $2 or $5 or $10. It depends what you want to pay. So I might do that. I'll see. For sure you're going to get people saying, I don't know what to say, but they're going to say, charging membership, I knew it, you're trying to make money. Well, I thought the internet was free. Yeah. I want it to be for free. But the problem is, when it's winter time and I have to heat the house, I have to pay for electricity bills and for the internet and things like that. When you don't have any money, these companies, they don't give a shit. They say, well, you got no money? It's not free. What was that shaking? It's not free, is it? For them, it's not free, so they'll cut you off. So I may try membership for a while and then just see how it goes. If I can get some, because I'm uploading a video every day, and that generates £50 a month, right? If I can reduce my workload and just do one or two videos a month or 3 videos a month, and get paid via, instead of adverts, get paid via membership. And then say if I have 10 people at $5 a go a month, so I'll still be getting $50 or £50, but YouTube will take a cut, will take like a third. So I need about 20 people at $5 each. So that would be for £5 each, whatever it is. So there's £100. YouTube take that third, so that'll be like £60, and then I have to pay tax, of course. So hopefully, so I don't know. I'll see. And then what I'll do is I'll focus on the 2 channels that can generate more money. You can get more RPM revenue or, per mil or per 1,000. So for every 1,000, like certain subjects, you can make more money when it comes to advertising. So the hypnosis kind of videos, they can get about £9, I think, RPM. The shredding, the channel, it doesn't get a lot, but it can go viral because lots of kids like to watch things being shredded. Teenagers, men and women in their 30s, they like watching destruction stuff because it's satisfying. So they can go viral, and then they can feed the channel. So the shorts can go viral and feed the channel, hopefully, and introduce people to watch more long form, more like 5 or 10 minute videos. Those are the videos that make money because you can put adverts on them. You can't really on shorts. Shorts are just for virality. So when it comes to money, if I focus on those 2, the hypnosis one and the shredding one, I give myself about 3 months and really work hard on those, and I should be able to generate some funds for myself, because the house has taken so long to sell, and we've got it at auction. We're still waiting for it to sell. Nothing's going on. It's so slow, that house, to sell. When we purchased it, it took two years before they sold that house to us. We just came along and thought, oh, this is wonderful, from London. So it's really, really slow. It's been about a year now already. And, the auction people, they want to bring it down. They're robbers. They want to bring it down for even a lower price. So I don't know what I'm going to do. Yeah, so, sorry, I'm just talking about my finances here, but I was talking about the girl that was raped by an intruder. How do you call it? A migrant. Yeah, it's quite sad, isn't it? But the thing that I don't understand is, you see online, you see people complaining about this and that, complaining, the government, or the Muslims, or the, Yeah, sure. Blame the government. Blame the migrants, whether they're Muslim or whether they're from the Middle East, whether they're from Africa. You can blame them, of course. But they are branches. They are these things here. You cut the branches off, then they'll still grow back. It's like the Hydra. You cut the head off and it will grow back. Or it cut one of the heads off and they grow back. So what I think the media, the governments, are all complicit. And, lawyers and lawmakers or whatever, they're all complicit, because you're not allowed to look at this here, the trunk of the tree. You're allowed to focus on the Muslims here, the migrants, the government, the people making money, you know, in these hotels, the Labour Party or whatever. Anyway, all of this stuff. But you're not allowed to look at the trunk or the root. If you want to eradicate the problem, you have to go to the root and see where the source, the elephant in the room, like something that nobody talks about. And the elephant in the room is, well, why do the governments allow these people in? These governments, they used to call Europe Fortress Europe because it had borders, right? And so you've got people like George Soros. I've spoken about him before. Oh, you're an anti-Semite. No, I'm not. He just so happens to be one of these guys, you know. But he wants open borders for all of us, for people in Europe and the Anglosphere. And he funds certain projects, associations like BLM, that are there to destroy society and create ghettos and trouble, you know. And he's a multi-billionaire, and you know, he's made it like his mission to destroy, like, America, Canada, all the Anglosphere. Open borders. Why? Well, some people think that it's to do with some people say, oh, it's all the Jays, you know, the Jays, it's all, they control everything. Yeah, but if you say that, why? And then they might say, oh, because they hate us for the past, you know, kicked out of so many countries. I said, I've spoken to these guys and I say, okay, all right. Why though? What's the end goal? And so some people talk about placement, placement theory. So basically, you've got one group of people that are going to replace another group of people. Yeah, that's that could be a reason, but again, why? What's the end game? The end game, some people say, oh yeah, okay, one world government. So this one world government has to have a base, has to have a place where it's going to function from. And so I asked another person, and he said, I said, where's this place going to function from? And he said, Jerusalem. And I said, oh no, you're not into that, like the second temple and stuff like that. And he said, like, yeah, the world's gearing up for the new world order, one world government, one religion, one army, and basically they will control everyone. Like with this with the idea that they want to do, they want to track everyone, they want to control everyone, and then my question is always, why? What's the end? So, okay, you control everyone, you have a one world government, so what? I don't get it. And who is it that wants this one world government? Who has their base in Jerusalem? So the only thing I can think of is Israel, right? So this one world government, is it the Israelis or people within the Israeli government? You know, I'm an idiot, I don't know. So these people that know more than me, they've said some things that I can't repeat. But they say the reason why this is all happening is because, well, first of all, you can't fight against it, because as soon as you say something, there are rules and laws that stop you. I have to be careful what I say. Stop you from speaking out. There are laws against criticizing certain people, or not people, but certain groups of people. So, as I said, I'll say nothing, you know. But some people say, "Oh, it's you're against the Jays." No, it's not that. I'm not against the Jays at all. It's because the Jays are a group of people. It's not a group of people that want to create a one world government. It's a certain group of elites that are in positions of power and influence. So it's not a group of people or a race or a religion. It's a certain percentage of, and they hide, within these countries, within these people. That's what I think. So, but if you try to find out, you'll get in trouble, because some people will say, because one guy said to me, "Oh, it's the one world government will be focused in Israel, right?" And I said, "What are you saying, that Jewish people want to control the world?" He said, "No, the Jewish people don't want to control the world." And I said, "Well, I don't get it. Israel, you have Jewish people there, right? So you say that the center is going to be in this place, Jerusalem or whatever. So who is going to be controlling the world? You're not saying Zionists, are you? Otherwise, you're going to be called a bad name." And he said, "Not necessarily, but the elites." And I just got confused, and I said, "Oh, okay, all right. I don't want to ask any more questions." Because I was speaking to the person on YouTube, because you can't say too much, otherwise, it might be seen as a hate crime or whatever if you even discuss things. You're not allowed to discuss anything. So, yeah, you're not allowed to discuss things because the internet, and specifically AI, is really sensitive to what do you call it? Anti-Semitic tropes. I didn't even know what the hell that word meant until AI told me. So I asked ChatGTP, is the worst, is the most woke. You have Grok and you have Gemini, but they're all the same. Grok is supposed to be more independent, but it isn't. It's woke as well. So I asked about Tommy Robinson, right? And I said, "Oh, well, I've heard online some people, talking about this stuff. So I'd just like to ask you, ChatGTP." And so I said, "Tommy Robinson, he's paid by some, like Israeli businessman. And, apparently the BNP in 2013 were supposedly funded by some Israeli businessman or somebody, Jewish guys. And they were allowed to go on, kind of open the door for them to go on TV on Question Time. And they said they changed their stance on Israel. They didn't have any anti-Semitic ideas or. So, but afterwards they changed their mind, because I think in 2013, Nick Griffin said something about having a discussion with certain people, businessmen or whatever, and they were told two things: one, focus on Muslims; two, don't talk about the banking system. So Nick Griffin, you can see it, is on YouTube. He said no, he's not going to do that. He's not going to do what they say.
This party, we were approached. I was approached. We were offered money from the United States, and all they wanted was two things. They only wanted us to concentrate on Islam, and I yield to no one in my criticism of Islam, not the only problem. And they wanted us only to focus on that, and it only came with one other thing. They wanted us to drop our criticism of the banking system. Those were the only two things. We had to concentrate on talking about Muslims, and we had to drop our criticism of the international banking system.
Immediately, their funding must have been taken away, and you haven't seen from the BNP since. Now, that in order to be a political party, even a small one, you have to have loads of funding. The what's it called? The EDL, in English Defence League, was funded by the same sources. Tommy Robinson was the leader, and then they kind of fizzled out. And now Tommy Robinson is funded by certain people in Israel. I don't know, some businessmen or whatever. They may be good guys, I don't know, but they are funded by him, by them. He is funded by them. So in one interview, he said, I am a Zionist. And like, Zionist means Israel first, right? It doesn't mean USA first or England first. I know some people will say, like, you don't have to separate. You can be a Zionist and America first or England first. No, you can't. If you are Israel first, then Israel is the most important thing. It's not England or Italy or Japan or whatever. And that makes sense. That's okay. That's cool. For Jewish guys, that's what it should be, right? You should be a proud Zionist, somebody who lives in Israel. That's not a problem. So, but when you've got people like Tommy Robinson talking about doing the things that Nick Griffin was asked to do, and then he didn't get funded anymore. Do you see the pattern? So Tommy Robinson, he focuses consistently on the Muslim problem, or the migrants coming from those areas in the Middle East, and he never talks about banking. So he does the two things that the BNP didn't do, and I don't know, he's still funded by. So I put all this information into ChatGPT. You don't realize the message I got back. So woke, it got angry with me. It said something like this: listen very clearly. I do not want to talk about anti-Semitic tropes. This is a warning, or something like that. I had my mouth open. I thought, oh my God, it's never ever spoken to me in an angry way. It sounded pissed, really, really pissed. And then I realized the penny dropped. I thought, of course, who programmed AI? Who controls AI? I mean, AI is controlled by humans and is very woke. So I never asked that question again. I said, oh, I'm sorry. And it changed its the way it spoke to me. So I never ask about, because innocently, I just asked this question and gave all this information. I thought, oh yeah, well, because Nick Griffin, and then it just makes sense, doesn't it? Tommy Robinson says he's a Zionist, okay, and what does he do? He focuses on Muslims and doesn't talk about the banking system or anything else. 2013, Nick Griffin of the BNP, he made a statement saying that he was told to focus on Muslims and not to talk about this. When he didn't do it, funding finished, or at least he didn't hear from the BNP anymore. So you do get punished if you criticize a certain group of people. That's a fact. You can't. I'm not saying it's a bad thing or a good thing, but I did see a program once. This guy was talking about this, and he said to was it Donahue, because they were talking about some stuff that I can't talk about here, and they had a Jewish guy, a young Jewish guy, a nice guy, a funny guy. His name was David Cole, and he was talking about World War II and the Holocaust and things like that, and they were talking about funding of some kind of museum in the States, and this guy, Mr. Smith, he was a professor, and he said, why are we being so sensitive, ultra sensitive to this one group of people? And so Donahue's reply was, oh, because they suffered so much in history and the Second World War. And Mr. Smith said, lots of people died, lots of people suffered. It wasn't just this group. So why are we, again, sensitive particularly to this group? And so it's really interesting, isn't it? You're not, you know, in the, I think it's in Russia, in communist Russia, you are actually, that's a crime that you could have been executed for. If you're anti-Semite, you would have been executed for that crime. I think that must have been the time when the Bolshevik revolution or whatever, when many of the leaders were actually Jewish. I'm not talking about Stalin. There are some people doubt that he may have been, because a lot of his family members were married to Jewish women or men. So anyway, what I'm saying is, I don't care who is on top, who the elites are, you know, and the elites are not, as I said, I don't think the elites are a group of people or a race or a religion. They're just the people on top that control everything. So what's my point? My point is, if there are certain groups of people that you can't criticize or question, then there's a big fucking problem. Because if you can't question certain people, you can never get to the truth. You know, and what's the problem? If you have truth on your side, what's the problem questioning? Truth is like bulletproof, right? You can question truth. It's like you have a scientific theory. You can't just run with it. This is our scientific theory, motherfucker, don't touch it. No, you have to question it. You have to try and debunk it. If it's robust, it's a robust theory, then nothing can touch it. But there's certain things you're not allowed to question. You're not allowed to talk about. You're not allowed to go there. So it makes me think there are fucking lies here. So when it comes to the situation in Ireland and in England, the governments don't control. Because if they did control, they would stop. They would put an end to all this immigration and stuff. So there are people, as I say, above the government that control. And the guy that said to me, "Oh, it's the Jays." Well, I don't think it is, but let's give him the benefit of the doubt, right? He would say, why can't we question it? Why can't we question a certain, not a group, but a group within a group? And so I've got no answer. You know, when somebody says something like that, I've got no answer, because then it makes his theory more plausible. Because what are they afraid of? What is the media, the governments, society? What are they afraid of? If you can't question, if you can't ask certain questions, then you're labeled an ist or a phobe. You know. Well, they're afraid of upsetting people unnecessarily. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, so going back to the 10-year-old child that was raped by an African. You see, the focus is dirty African, nasty African. But who lets these people in? I mean, if you live in a big house, okay, and there's I don't know, criminals and people who can come into your house, and you realize that somebody's, your daughter or son is opening the back door and letting all these people in. You don't really blame the people that come in. You blame your son for letting them in, right? And so then you question your son, why are you letting them in, son? And then you realize somebody has brainwashed him to do this stuff. So who's letting these people in? The government. The government are controlled, not brainwashed, they're not brainwashed, but they're controlled by outside forces, or forces inside the government. I don't know. Because it just doesn't make sense. It just totally doesn't make sense. Unless there are... Because it goes against the will of the people. None of us have ever asked for all these people to come in. Hasn't been a referendum. No one's been asked, do you want all these guys to come in? Do you want to be replaced? No, because they know what the answer will be. You know, some people say, sorry, I was just thinking, you know what I said about the Jays and stuff like that. I was speaking to some people. Some people might say you're an anti-Semite, and I don't even know what that thing means. What does it mean? It's just like being called, racist or a xenophobe, or I don't know, Islamophobe or whatever. These terms are thrown at you to stop conversation. Like shh. Otherwise, you'll be thrown this guilt card. Well, it's gay, doesn't it? Are you homophobe? So, I definitely am not. But the fact that this guy, right, asked this question, and now I'm thinking, doesn't he have a right to ask that question? And if that question can't be asked, there is a problem. There's a problem. There are things that are hidden and people don't want to talk about. It doesn't necessarily mean that these people are at fault, but it means that you end up not having trust. I bet you there's a lot of people don't trust certain groups of people because you can't question them. You can't question certain people in their group, Well, anyway, whatever it is. I don't know. But I don't think like there's some people, like the same guy says that they're doing it on purpose to create strife, to create conflict. They know what's going to happen when they bring these people in. They're going to fight. There is a replacement as well, but they're going to fight against each other, and they're going to bring in rules to control you more and more. For example, the ID, and then I don't know, you can't go out late at night, curfew, whatever. There's going to be so much control, and that's what they want. It's all to do with control. But I said to him, no, I don't think so. It's more than that. But he said, what can it be more than that? One world government. What else do you want? And I said, it's the Kalergi plan. And he said, yeah, that's part of the same thing. And I said, look, I don't know. And I just stopped talking to him. I said, look, I'm getting a headache here. I don't want to know. I'm going to go and ask one Jewish guy. The Jewish guy will probably say, what the hell do I know? I don't know about this stuff. Yeah. I should get a Jewish guy to talk to this guy, talk to them together, and then let you guys know what happens. Yeah, so anyway, no, I'm just joking about Jewish guys. But I think there are elites though. Elites. Some of them Jewish, some of them Christian, some of them Muslim. There are elites up here at a certain level that are controlling everything. Why? Is it one world government? Yeah, probably. On some level, they've all got together. The leaders of all countries, they've gotten together and they're going to make this happen. The New World Order, Okay, anyway. So yeah, it's really sad about that girl, if it's true that she got raped by a man. What should happen to that man? Automatically you focus on the man. He should have his nuts and whatever cut off. Yeah, it's funny saying it. It's not going to happen. He's going to be probably sent to jail for a few years, 5-10 years or whatever, and then come out. if he gets 10 years, then he only has to do, I think, 40% of his time or come out in 4 years. What justice is that? You know, that's not justice at all. Justice would be like put him inside the, you know, in the ocean and let him swim for his freedom in a place where they're infested with fucking sharks. I know it's cruel, but they are cruel, these guys. You know, I saw one video like in Barcelona, this is a year ago. There was this migrant, I don't know, from North Africa, and there was I think it was maybe a Spanish or French man and woman. They were not elderly, like middle-aged. They were grandparents, and they were looking after a child, a baby. And this migrant, just slapped the baby. And you know, the granddad, maybe he was in his 60s, 70 maybe. He just looked at me and said, "Oh, what are you doing?" Like that.
Wesh. Ouais! Mais ça va pas? Allez-vous-en.
Puta mal parida. La próxima la van a cara.
Mais il est malade.
These people hate us, but they hate your kids even more. A lot of people like to say, well, they're not all bad, but how the fuck are we meant to know who's good and who's bad? Do you know who does know who's good and who's bad? The supposed good migrants. Why don't they point out who the good ones and the bad ones are? Because we can't tell. And at this stage, you're just walking through the park, your child's going to get a slap in the face. That father done nothing about it. He didn't protect the child, and then when the child got a slap, he didn't avenge the child. He didn't give the child to the mother and sort it out. The man just got to shout at them and walk away. The man was later arrested by police in Barcelona, and it's alleged that he attacked 2 other people over the weekend. So that would be 3 people attacked, 1 migrant, 1 weekend, and he's probably out in the streets.
I could just imagine if it was me. First of all, that granddad shouldn't be holding the baby. He should give the baby to the grandmother so that he could attack him. Like, even if you don't have any fucking strength, grab him and grab him and bite him, and make sure that he regrets the day that he was even fucking born. I can't believe that. I can't imagine. I don't care how big he is, how small he is, if he's got weapons, or maybe if he's got a knife or a gun, that's different. But this, I have a grandchild, okay? I don't have any grandchildren. I'm holding a baby, right? That is precious to me, and this migrant slaps the baby. Okay. I would put the baby down and punch, kick. I do everything to this guy. Of course, I wouldn't be as strong as him. I'll kick him in the nuts and thrust his eyes, and do something to him. This guy, what did he do? He just held the baby, and he looked at him in an angry way. He just gave him an angry look. The migrant went bang to the baby. He could have killed the baby. It happened in Barcelona. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And he just took it. I can't believe that. Apparently this guy was arrested, and he'd already assaulted other people on that weekend. So shouldn't these people just be kicked out? Like the migrant that raped the 10-year-old, he lost his appeal. He wanted to be, he lost his asylum appeal 3 months before. And he was like roaming around for 3 months. I mean, if people believe that this is not done on purpose, they are totally brainwashed. They are totally brainwashed. This is done on purpose. The government, the governments, if they wanted to kick these people out, they could. They can come out of the ECRM or whatever it is, or have a fucking referendum. If there was a referendum now, should we come out of the ECRM so we can kick out all these people? Like 90% of these people would say yes, even the fucking migrants. Yeah, well, anyway, that was my talk today. I don't know if I can upload this. I'll be in trouble. But it's good to say things like without fear, Like I've spoken to people about this stuff before, and you lose your friendship. But what kind of friends are they? If you can't talk, if you're not allowed to express yourself, you know, then they're not your friends anyway. You might as well know that sooner or later, you know. You should be able to talk about everything. Nothing should be off the table. Like, if I had a black friend, right, and if they weren't honest with me and talked to me about things that were, I don't know, like cringy, things that they, you know, what they really felt about like black white guys and whatever, you know, I would feel that there's always a barrier. But if they opened up and they said how they really felt, you know, then I could trust that person more, if you know what I mean. You know, I know what's inside their heart and inside their mind, and you can have a conversation. You know, at the end of the day, the guy might think, oh yeah, white guys are not so bad. It's all this fucking media stuff, you know, and then, you know, that's how you can have a conversation. But the problem is with these guilt cards, you can have no conversation. You know, you talk about black people, you're a racist. You talk about Jewish guys, anti-Semite. You talk about Muslims, Islamophobe, gays, homophobe, you know, transphobe. It just cuts down. The whole point is you can't talk about anything, and it creates more anxiety. But with me, I won't create any anxiety. I'll talk about the stuff, you know. And at the end of the day, you have these talks, and then you end up actually being closer to that person, you know, because at least they know your stance or kind of, you know, your worries or your thoughts or your anxieties, and they know the person that you are. I think it's better that way, you know, talking about these things and just keeping it inside. And I don't know. Or any Tommy Robinson fans are going to be pissed off. Tommy Robinson, somebody said he's a shill. Obviously, you know, shill means somebody paid to do something. I don't know. What do I know? I just see what people are talking about on the internet and think, oh, okay, that's interesting. It goes into my head, and then I end up asking questions. Then people end up saying, oh, you're a fucking Nazi, you're a Islamophobe. I'm nothing. I'm just asking questions. I don't fucking know anything. I don't want to know anything. Well, anyway, that's the situation today. That's my rant. It covered work, political correctness, everything. So that's what's in my brain today, and I've thrown it out onto the internet. No wonder I don't get any views, because some of the things that I might talk about are offensive, you know. So YouTube doesn't send it out into the world. If I never swore, if I never spoke about any politically sensitive topics, then I would get a lot more views. So maybe that's something I should do. But I don't know what the fuck I would talk about. I'll speak to you guys in the next video. Maybe. Bye.
Life.